Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the My Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
I'm slowly learning Zach's made-up sign language.
Yeah, turn it over.
That means tilt.
Yeah, I was like, what,
Yeah.
do you want to see
No.
my monitor?
No, what? Never. No. It's the anti-penultimate episode.
It is the anti-penultimate episode.
We looked that up.
But
Yeah.
last one was the, oh God, was it post? No, God, I forgot.
Pre-anti-penultimate?
And then there no, I don't remember. I fucked it all up.
Yeah.
I had them all
Yeah,
remembered.
you did. Jeez. I really fell apart there. But yeah,
Sorry.
it's the anti-penultimate episode.
It's third to last.
Third to last
Apparently.
episode. Yeah. As we were counting down, this is also probably going to be the last normal episode where we do the normal thing. And then we're going to do weird things for the last two episodes, the penultimate and the ultimate. This is a board gaming podcast for probably maybe just this episode. This might be the last board game episode.
I'm sure we'll talk about
I
it.
played games
Yeah.
Jeff played games.
for the
played
last board game episode.
All of us did, right, Adrian?
Glad you came full circle there. Sure. I could lie.
All right, go ahead and lie. What did you play?
Played Descent. See, it's sitting right here on the table.
Mhm,
What
sure.
happens?
We got a bunch of cards. We
I need plot
built
details,
a
please.
bunch of towers.
Mhm. Spoilers. I need
Spoilers.
heavy spoilers.
I'll cut the spoilers, but I need to know.
We did something with Lady Bryn. I'm pretty sure is what's going on there. She's got a mission to go, intimidate somebody.
I don't think that happened.
Then you definitely didn't do it if you think that's what the mission is.
No.
It might actually be Chance's mission. No, because Chance's mission was the one we did with the shadowy guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Chance. Stopping the assassination plot.
Mhm.
I don't remember what Lady Bryn's is. It's been a minute.
Because you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, you haven't done it.
No, I did it. I just forgot already.
No.
Sure.
That's
You
that's
would
my
remember
review of
You would
Descent
remember it.
is that the missions are completely forgettable, not worth playing at all.
Especially because they're twice as long as they used to be.
That
Jesus
is very
Christ.
true.
Yeah, and
Well, I was a
that
little-
terrain gets in depth.
It does.
It does.
Everyone's had to move their shit out of the way.
Yeah.
In our 3 games we've played.
Yes. I was a little worried that it was, that expansion was not the cost of the original game, but close comparatively. And I saw that it had less missions in it. And I was like, oh, well, that's a little disappointing. And then we started playing it. And I'm like, oh, time-wise, it's still matching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not even including any of the just narrative only stuff
Exactly,
that we
yeah.
haven't done much of yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I did not play games.
Yeah.
I'll fess up. The charade is crumbling.
But you were doing such a good job. They never suspected.
But what did you guys play? Let's talk about what we've been playing recently. We'll save Jeff for last because
Sure.
this might be the last time Jeff ever plays a board game.
For as many as I bought over Black Friday,
Yeah.
there will be games being played.
Zach,
And also the dozens I just got rid of.
Yes.
yeah.
Which-
Speaking of, did you bring mine?
I'm not getting rid of Agricola anymore because I realized that that anniversary box they made that had a lot of those reprints did not have the amount of stuff that I actually have, and there's no way for me to repurchase a lot of that.
I mean, I could just hold on to it for you. Safe storage.
Yeah, because
Zach,
it is an OG copy.
yeah, I know. It looked dope.
Yeah.
Zach, what have you been playing?
So I had some friends that came to game night that normally don't come to game night.
And you were like, Jason. I was like, I have no idea who
Yeah.
this fucking person is.
That's fine. I may have brought him once, 5 years ago or so.
I know Ryan.
Yes, but
He stayed at our place, and I never talked to him
correct.
because I was at work. I wandered past his sleeping quarters multiple times.
The only time you interacted with him was when you saw him sleeping.
Correct.
So-
Well, and I didn't because it was very dark.
But I had
Just listen to him in the dark.
yeah,
Just listen to him breathe.
good.
Standing there.
So I had some friends join. They were looking. One of their friends that was coming in. It was for a wedding, which I'll talk about later. But or not a wedding, but more of a signing of a marriage certificate.
People got hitched.
Yeah. they were looking to play like cooperative games because they're not much of a competitive. They don't like competitive games, and I was like,
Sure.
okay. So I gave him a list of the games I brought, but I brought two. I brought two that were like weren't cooperative, but like one of them was Between Two Castles, which one of my favorite games.
Great game.
And they ended up wanting to play that, especially because I think it's a great like inner game between competitive and cooperative, because it's collaborative, as I like to say, because your neighbors, you are working your best to get those be the best castles, but then you hope all the other castles die in a fire, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So there are 4 of us playing. We're playing with the Secrets expansion. I just have it in there now, so but it's super easy to teach. It just adds technically 2 more different types of rooms, but like one of them is Secret Room, which is just a copy of whatever room it's pointing to.
Yep.
I don't know if I've played with the expansion.
I have.
I like
it's
it.
Nice. It's good.
So that part's cool. Like that one's cool because then it just makes a copy of it, of whatever room you're pointing to. So as long as you can plan correctly for it, then you can get a lot better scores. You can, especially if you find rooms that you are like, I'm going to score like 5 or 6 points from this one, you can copy that room to get even more.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're like my friend who is at the diagonal to me, so I had no interaction with him, he ended up grabbing a secret tile that was absolutely fucking useless on what it pointed to, because it's only on what areas you're pointing to. And if it's pointing to the right, then it's only things that you can point to on the right, and you can't really secret a secret room. And so, at least as far as I know, but it wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't.
I think you can actually.
Can you?
Yeah,
well,
I think you can chain secret rooms.
Oh, that's weird, but okay. But he had pointed where I was like, okay, well, you can get absolutely 0 points for this one. You can get probably 0 points for this one, or you can get maybe 1 point for this room. And only getting like maybe 1 point from one tile that you grab is not great.
Not ideal.
No. But I've played it multiple times. The person to my right had played it once before, or I think she had played it at least once before. The 2 other people are completely new to it. The 2 new people made the worst castle, unsurprisingly.
That tracks. Yeah.
Person to my left and we made the best castle, because we had a lot of activity rooms, which are activity rooms were new in the expansion as well. These get you 1 point for any room that's orthogonally adjacent towards it, but anything orthogonally or diagonally adjacent of a particular type of room like kills it more or less, and you only get 1 point. So instead of getting up to 4 points per room, you only get 1. If it would be like no living rooms in this area or no outdoors or any of that stuff. But we were able to have 4 stacked on top of each other, and then we had 2 underground spaces that were both like, you get points for activity rooms top of us, so we were able to get a lot that way.
Nice.
So that one was the best castle, and then to my right, we built the second best castle. So that one was like 78, this one was 60, and then the other castle was like 55 or something like that. And then the worst one was like 30. So I ended up winning that one, but they all really liked it, which is good. And I think it works well because you're talking with people when you're trying to figure, like, I don't know which one of these 2 worked, and your partners can help you figure it out, but you just got to let them not talk, like influence you too much about like, oh, this is garbage over here. Cause I definitely did that a couple times of being like, look, this tile is getting you nothing, nothing. It's getting us a lot of points over here. I understand you want to balance it out, but you're just making your castles collectively worse by putting it over there. After
Glad
that,
to see you using your powers for good, Zach.
yeah,
I was thinking about Between Two Castles earlier today, because I was reading up on Voidfall, and its cooperative mode is actually your score is whoever like the score of the like lowest player. So everyone has to cooperatively get everyone's scores high.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of like Between Two Castles.
I still want to try that out. They had that at BGG Con. They had the regular box size and the big box one for in the hot games, but we did not get a chance to try it.
Yeah, the retail and galactic edition, there's no real difference except the triple layer player boards and like minis and like metal buildings.
Okay. Which
Gotcha.
you at least got the triple. You said
Yeah,
you
and I'll get the
those.
metal buildings when they have it back in stock.
Gotcha.
But the triple layer player boards were only $15, and I was like, hell yeah.
Nice.
I tested them out yesterday. They're real nice.
That's good.
It's like if a Twilight Imperium civilization could like slide into a board, and then that board would have all of your like fleet and strategic and stuff on there, and it would have like spots for all your tech cards, but it would be in like a triple layer player board, so it would hold all your cards in the spots. And
I like
stuff.
that. That sounds nice.
Yeah, it does.
Anyways, Between Two Castles.
Well, and so that was it for that one.
Cool.
Next up, they wanted to play something a little bit lighter. So I had 2 dexterity
Then
games for me.
Between Two Castles.
Yes. Well, they're not, at least one of them was not hasn't played a ton of games. And so it has, that one definitely has a lot more complex scoring than Between Two Cities.
Did you use the phone thing? Okay.
I did not. Cause I was like I wanted to have them score their own ones too, because it helps learn how things.
I'm going to take
work.
a picture of your board and tell you what you
Exactly,
scored.
yeah. And I was just like, I don't want to have to.
I just wanted to know if it was still functional.
I thought about it, but I was just like, this will be easier. Which, as long as everyone understands how the scoring works, it does. So
yes.
Next up, dexterity game. I had Click Clack Lumberjack with me, but they had already played it, so we did Catch the Moon instead.
Okay.
Which is stacking ladders to try and reach heaven or whatever.
I've seen that South
I
Park
know,
episode.
right?
It's the moon.
Yeah, heaven.
I've seen that South Park episode.
I know. Yes.
I haven't played that in a really long time.
I know.
Catch the Moon.
Yeah, I ended up playing it again recently. I think Paul had brought his copy or something. And so when I was bringing things up, I was like, Ice Cool's too big. I was looking for any of the smaller dexterity ones I had, and that one and Click Clack worked really well for that. So I explained the game. It started on the other side. So there were 5 people. We did have one person join us for it. So they started stacking ladders up onto the base ladders or whatever you want to call them. And then when it got to me, I was like, oh, okay, I need to do one. And I did this really, convoluted sort of thing, having it balance against itself that, is obviously made to make it fall on other people's turns. And then the person to my left glared at me, and I was just like, oh, by the way, I am not nice at all when it comes to dexterity games. My goal is to make it fall on your turn, so I'm going to make it. Sometimes that then causes me to fall on my turn, but otherwise it's So it was a lot. It was a lot of turns of
a bunch of people placing stable things, and then you placing something really fucked up.
Yeah, and then a couple of people being able to work around that, and then one person tried to place anything on my unstable thing, and then it would collapse. So ironically, the guy to the right of me got 4 or 5 of the 7 tiers, which are negative points in this game. And so it was very interesting to watch it be like, oh, well, now it's stable again. All right, well, we're going to unstabilize it, and then have it build up, collapse. All right, my turn to unstabilize it again. Unfortunately, I did cause it to fall on my turn once, and then I was just like, there were 2 people that didn't have any tiers, and I was like, I need you to get tiers so that I can still have a chance of winning, but it did not happen. But still a fun game.
Nice.
It. Yeah. And then after that, actually before my friends arrive, and this is a game that you played too, was Sky Team. We got to try it out. I didn't play it with Jeff, but I did play it with Paul, because we were both there at 5:15 or so. So this is a 2-player cooperative flight simulator, we'll call it.
Sure.
Dice placement. You're all one person's the pilot, one person's the co-pilot, and you're trying to land at various different airports, and they each have their own different challenges and challenge levels. And the base one, I don't know what the base one is, but it's basically there's a lot of modules that you can add based off of those different airports. So the board has, like any dice placement game, it has various numbers on there that you, in various spots where you can put those dice, and that will determine the strength of that action. You each have 4 dice, and there are 2 spots that each player has to put 2 of their dice. So one is for engine speed, and then one is for turning direction.
Yeah.
So
I think that's. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
No. Yaw is turning the plane to on a
That's
flat
right. Yeah,
plane.
that's right. That's right.
Roll.
yeah.
think?
So we'll call it roll.
I think it's roll because your wings could go straight up and down, and then you
Yeah.
crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and And on those, so the roll is interesting because if I play you and I were playing Adrian, if you placed a 5 and I placed a 4,
Don't do a barrel
definitely
roll.
don't do that. Then the difference between our dice is 1, so the plane would roll one step closer towards my side, and if it ever reaches, I think it's like 3 steps towards your side, the plane basically crashes.
Yes.
So you have to be able to balance how the plane is moving, and because you have dice, you can't control those to an extent of what you roll, so you have to be able to plan that out. There are some of the modules that need you to roll in specific angles as you go through the steps to get toward the approach of the airport, which was pretty interesting. There was even one I saw where it's like you need to be like 1 or 2 to the left and then 2 or 3 to the right, like you're like really fucking zigging and zagging around.
So what makes this game difficult is your dice are hidden from each other.
Yes.
As well. So you each roll 4 dice, but you don't know what that is.
Once you roll the dice, you can't discuss anything.
Yes.
So you do place dice one at a time, so you can sort of lead your partner in how. Like if I play a 5 on the roll before you do, then you know, hey, if I have a 5 or a 6 or a 4, I probably shouldn't keep a 1 for that spot because we're going to lose.
Unless they have nothing but 1s, and then it's like, uh-oh. Then you're fucked.
There is some reroll tokens you can get if you do certain things, and there's coffee that you can get that'll do a plus or minus 1 to help a bit, but you are still, as always, at the mercy of the roll of the die. So, and then the engine spots, you add up your dice together. And then there is sort of a sweet spot that you have in the center that'll let you move 1 space. If you get below that spot, you don't move at all. And if you get above that spot, you move 2 spaces. And you only have like 6 turns. There's a time tracker of basically altitude of it's 6,000, then 5,000, then 4,000, then 3,000. Each one of those, you're going to switch who places their dice first. Sometimes you'll get a reroll token, but then by the time it reaches 0, when you've touched the ground, you need to be at the airport. Otherwise, you have crashed.
And you can go really fast and get to the airport fast, but it doesn't matter if you get there fast, right?
It does. Yeah. Then you're just basically just circling the airport.
I thought
but you have to roll. You have to do under the sweet spot for movement each time because you can't fly any farther.
Yeah, you have to be 0.
You have to be 0.
But the blue player has a mandatory thing they have to do before you land, which is brakes.
Brakes. You got to pump your brakes.
Yep.
Can't have these are anti-lock brakes. So,
but the more the brakes move, the low point of your speed goes higher.
Yes.
And then there's flaps that the orange player has to do that increases that cap. So there's like 4 flap stages, and at some point, I think it goes to all the way to 12.
Yeah, it's
or 11 or 12.
Yeah, it goes all the way to 12 to where you can't go. Like once your flaps are fully extended, you can't do a double.
Can't go 2 anymore.
You can't do a 2 anymore. Yeah. But those you have to do in like order of like they'll say like one,
it's like
or
1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4,
4, 5.
4. Yeah,
and you have to do those in order. You have to basically like, all right, first flap, second flap. Whereas you have the wheels that you put down as the captain. And those can go in any order. It's either a 2 or 4 or 6 because, as we all know, airplanes, they just do a wheel one at a time.
So, yeah. They're definitely not linked at all to come down simultaneously.
A hook of the speed is there's traffic in front of you. And if you move into a space closer to the airport that has airplanes on it, you crash.
You hit them.
So you have a radio that you have to put a die on, and that will remove a plane 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces ahead of you. So if you have 2 spaces ahead of you, you need to get rid of a plane. You put a 2, and it gets rid of a plane on that 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you each have 1 or 2.
Co-pilot has 2.
Yes.
Pilot has 1.
Yes.
They have other shit to deal with. Co-pilot can usually deal with it.
Yeah.
So that's like the basic of it, but there are a lot of different modules depending on which.
Yeah, they do things like icy wings and
icy brakes. Or like your ice brakes, there's an intern you have to train, as you remember on airplanes, where there's a new guy. They're like, all right, let me fucking show you how to deal.
A lot of people have died because people have put kids at the controls of airplanes.
That is very true. there is like a leaking gas, or you have to deal with gas, or there is a tailwind.
We had gas, so it was a die slot that was 6, and then you could put a number on there, and that's how much fuel you would use. But if you didn't put one on there, you would use 6.
And you only had like 20
Yeah.
over 6 rounds. So it would be, if you did it like twice, you can easily run out of fuel that way. So each one of them, and there are some that'll add like a combination, but they each had their own little, just
Nuance.
little, nuance and stuff like that.
There was one that was like it was almost looked like a compass, but it was like your plane, and like every time that you used your roll, it would move the plane like certain amount of ticks. Like I think it was to symbolize the pitch, because if the pitch was up, you would be going faster, and if the pitch was down, you'd be going slower.
Okay.
Something like that. Maybe it was like headwinds or something.
It was
like
headwinds.
Oh,
so
winds. Yeah.
as you turn to the left or the right, your plane would move on that sort of dial, and that would either increase how fast you're going or decreasing how fast you're going, which is really important as you got later on.
So if you were rolled 2 to the right, every turn, that dial would go up 2. And then even though your roll wouldn't change, it would go up 2 again the next turn, because you're still turning with you at that roll.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a way to which way you were facing, I guess,
Yep.
which was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. I liked it. We were actually, Paul and I were playing, I either interpreted it wrong or we were playing it wrong on when, if you get to the airport sooner, it was like, oh, then speed doesn't matter. It's, you have to do it. You have to do 0 speed. So you have to go low on it. But otherwise, we, had a little bit of cheating, but we won.
A little light cheating.
Light cheating.
Little asterisk. Did you win?
Yeah, we won both times.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you didn't have to worry about speed anymore.
Well, look,
Because you cheated.
but we didn't just like go there immediately as quick. Like it was like maybe 1 round of like getting low. But yes, like I said, light cheating. So, but it was still enjoyable, and I think I always appreciate a good 2-player game that uses its theme well.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it. It seems very interesting.
Yeah.
Kaiser and Paul played a couple games, and then I played a couple games with Kaiser. We lost both times, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't think you adequately answered Mike Jones's query, because he didn't ask about drinking while you're flying. He wants to know if there's a scenario where you just start the game.
You start drunk? No, unfortunately, as far as I can tell.
Like anytime you go to place a die, you just have to roll it, and whatever you roll is what you can place there.
To be fair, I haven't played all the scenarios. Maybe
there's a drunk scenario.
Yeah,
there's 4 levels of difficulty, and we only played 3, which was hard.
I think
So
Paul
maybe-
and Kaiser did one of the blacks, which was the hardest level, and they did not go well, I don't think.
So there we go.
But I mean, you could just add a zillion different scenarios into this pretty easily.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because it's just these little slide things that what the distance to your airport is, and boards and stuff like that. So.
Yep. And then just tack on modules that you want to. So yeah, it was cool. I like it. I definitely would consider it. I think 2-player game. It worked really well for that.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to try it sometime.
the last game I played, Jeff also already played, but he can be the one talking about it this time because he played more than 1 game of it.
Yes. So I had purchased sea salt and paper because it was a
Cabo-esque.
Cabo-esque.
A Habbo-like.
What like?
Habbo-like.
Habbo?
Wait, what is it?
Cabo.
Sorry.
Cabo.
Cabo-like
What the
is what I meant to
fuck?
say.
Gummy bears?
He was thinking of Ice Cool, which is made by Haba. I think. Or no, that's Rhino Hero is by Haba.
No,
Games.
I was thinking of Cabo, but I just said
I know.
Habbo.
I was just
Haribo.
joking. Anyway, tell us about Sea Salt and Paper.
So Sea Salt and Paper is a card game where you start with no cards in your hand. It's a set collection, push your luck kind of game.
Okay.
So you have a deck, and then you have 2 face-up cards in 2 different discard piles. And your actions are take 2 cards off the top, pick 1, discard the other, or take 1 off the discard. And then you can play any pairs you have, which are kind of like the power cards in Cabo. In this one, it's take a card off the top of the deck, put it into your hand, go through one of the discard piles, which you are normally not allowed to look through at all, and take a card into your hand and then put it back. That's the crabs. There's a shark and swimmer combo duo that you get to take a card out of someone else's hand. What's the other one? It's the boat.
Yeah, the two boats.
The two boats.
Draw the top of the deck.
Is that the drop of the?
I think so.
Top of the deck? Okay, there's boat. Oh, the fish.
Mm-hmm.
What's the fucking fish do?
Does that take another turn? One of them is take another turn.
It's and the two fish is take an immediate another turn. And then after all of these things, you can call the end of the round, or you can reveal your hand calling the end of the round, but everyone else gets one more turn. So if you call the end of the round immediately, everyone just scores their points. If you push your luck and call the end of the round one turn later,
you bet basically.
Yeah, and then if you win, you also get to score your color bonus, which is you get a point for every card of the most colors you have in your hand. So if you have 4 blues, you would get an additional 4 extra points. And there's like 11 different colors or something in this game, 9, 11, something like that. And then the amounts of them are also different. Like there's 1 orange, 1 pink, 9 blue, 9 light blue. And then there's the wilds, which are the mermaids. They allow you to score a color bonus without calling the end of the round and winning the round. And if you have multiple mermaids, you score your most color, then you score your second most color, third most. And at any time, if you have all 4 mermaids, you just win the game.
Okay.
And the game goes to like 20, 25, 30 points.
We did 35 for ours.
35, so it's probably 30, 35, 40 with 4 players, I think. 30 at 2 players. So I played with Paul and Kaiser. Paul did not like the game.
Too random for him.
Yes, too random.
Okay.
He called it, you may as well just play high card. Kaiser had played a significant amount of this game before on Board Game Arena, I think. He
plays a lot on BGA.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And never played the physical version. What is nice about the physical version is all the cards are quite nice quality, and then all the art is unique because it's all origami photographs of all of the crabs and etc. Sharks, swimmers. Kaiser did well in the game I played with him and Paul. It was fine. Because the scores were fairly close, and then Kaiser just like proceeded to destroy us completely. I didn't finish explaining the cards. There's the duo cards, and then there are like set collection cards. They're shells, octopi, octopuses. I don't remember. Octopodes. Anchors, penguins,
penguini.
Yes, penguinis. That's yes. But the set collection, there are only as many of those cards as there are on the set points. So there's 5 stages to the shell points. There's only 5 shell cards. Same with octopods. Then there's only like 3 penguins and 2 anchors. But if you only have 1 of those anchors, it's 0 points. If you have 2, it's 5 points. But as soon as someone knows that you have an anchor, you're never going to see that other anchor ever again. But if people start throwing a bunch of shells into the discard, you'll be like, well, maybe it's my time to take shells. And then as soon as someone sees you take a shell, you're never going to see another shell again. Which is why crabs is really powerful, because you can go into the discard and just like, but you have to remember which discard pile it's in, because you can't look at the discard piles.
And there's 2 of them.
And there's 2 different discard piles.
You can only see what's at the top.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
So every once in a while we had to be like, let's clean this up so that you can't see.
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up.
Keep it tight. Keep it tight. So yeah, Paul wasn't a fan. Kaiser destroyed all of us, and even though I kept it close, it was not ideal. And then we played the Sky Team, and then when Zach was done with all of his friends, we played another game, of which Kaiser very much destroyed us once again. I
still won though, but he had a monster hand.
So I was finally I finally called the end of the round and did a bet. I was like, earlier in the game, it was like 8 points, and then Zach got 8 points, and then no one could beat 8 points because it's equal to or greater than. So if you match 8, he still gets the win on his bet.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, 8, that should be fine. And then I have 8, and then I think Zach
I had 8, so I couldn't
and I
beat
was
him.
good. And then Kaiser's like 17, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Remember, again, the game is first to 35, so that was he was at 17 before, so it brought him to 34. I was at 24, and I got 11 points with the color bonus we got by Jeff failing his.
Yeah, so
bet.
and then I fail my bet, and then everyone else gets their color bonus.
And he only scores.
And I only score my color bonus.
And I ended up getting 11 points, which got me to 35.
Yeah.
So it got me the win.
Yes.
Which is good because he would have crushed us had it gone one more round.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Him having a 17-point hand was absolutely ridiculous. I think he had multiple mermaids.
He had 3 mermaids in his hand, too.
That's right.
So
yeah,
he could
yeah.
have just, we did look to see, and it was 20 cards down. But there was a chance of him just winning from that.
it was too close to the bottom, but he was
Yeah.
close to the kamikaze, shoot the moon for sea salt and paper.
Okay.
It was fine.
Fine, yeah, I would
It was
agree with that.
fine. I think I still like Cabo a lot more than sea salt and paper.
Cabo's a good game. I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah.
I'd like to try Sea Salt and Paper at least once. See where I fall on the spectrum of Paul's just play high card versus...
I would say you're probably closer to that, but not as close as he is.
Yeah.
I can see it as a valid complaint because you don't start with anything in your hand, so it's just whatever you draw. But yeah,
Sure.
some games it's fine for that.
Right on. Anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
So I played Revive with the new expansion,
What is the expansion called?
Call of the Abyss.
Okay. Did you feel the abyss call you?
I did. Into a close second and third place to Ants almost lapping us.
How many people did you play with? 3?
3, yes. So this is Call of the Abyss. It's the expansion to Revive. It adds these new tiles to the board that are... I don't think they ever explained to me what their actual,
Thematic thing is?
I think they're lakes. Because there's those 1 square
Yeah.
lakes, but now there's 4 square lakes that are super deep, that there are Scyphos, SCYPHOZ.
Oh, yes, those. Yeah.
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 I
was just talking about those yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm usually
Yeah.
good at spelling and pronunciation, but for some reason, whenever somebody spells a weird word like that, my brain just stops listening after 3 letters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not-
Scyphos. It adds a new point score board that is the devotion board. The higher devotion you have, you're getting devotion by building your buildings next to these lakes. And then every time you hibernate, which is where you take your played cards and swap them out with your hibernate area,
Okay.
you get a certain amount of devotion depending on if you get the settlement versus city next to it. And then you get a one-time bonus for building that next to there. Downside in this game is those lakes are on there fairly random, I believe, and the tiles next to those lakes are also random. So sometimes you can be wanting to build next to one of these lakes, flip over a bunch of tiles, and there's no way you can position that tile to where it has a legal build space next to the lake. And then one of the new civilizations, which has a 3 tile land thing that they can just put down, that's just there was spots next to there, but now my stuff's next to there and no one can build there. So Julie's got they're beavers or otters or something like that, and then they have these 3 triangle pieces that they can just put out, and every time they hibernate they open or close, which means they turn into walls or open spaces every other turn.
Oh, dang.
And then she also gets to build from there. Thankfully, it also only counts as 1 space when they're open for us. But when she places them there, she gets all the bonuses underneath and also blocks those spaces from being built on. So I didn't get to build next to no lakes. Because if you build in certain spots, you get those machine peg moves and stuff. And all that was left was just I'm going to waste a bunch of resources building and getting nothing except this devotion track. So My civilization was interesting. It was all based on that switch that you can pull, where you pull the switch. Normally you would get like some resource, or you can like copy someone else's card and they get it in their hibernation pile. But mine, I got these 4 machines that I could run once every switch pull for the hibernation. I could like return 2 power from generators, machines that I had used power on.
Okay.
I could max out one of my resources, the like gears resource, max it all the way to the top. Trying to remember what the other 2 were, because those were the ones you unlocked. Oh, you could take one of your played cards and toss it into the hibernation pile, so you could kind of free up one of your board spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the other one is, but every time I hibernated, every one of those machines I used, I got points for.
Okay.
So I wanted to be able to flip that switch at least 4 times per hibernate, which means I was delaying my hibernation longer than they were. So I was kind of always a turn behind on that, which really fucked me in the end when Ant ends the game and my only option is to hibernate. And so I do nothing on the last turn.
That sucks.
Except get some points for like, I flipped my 4 machines. And everything was full. So, so the devotion mechanic, it's another track. And then there's new like wild cards you can get from there that are significantly more powerful than the green, yellow, and gray cards. For the Sci-Faz cards. And you get to draw 2, pick one off those basically. And everyone gets basically 2 of those, but they're like 2 wild resources or 2 resources of your choice for playing it at the top, which is quite powerful.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new mechanic called journey cards, which are like the more of X you have, the more points you get.
Okay.
So when you flip the switch, you can take one of those journey cards now instead of getting one of the bonuses. Like it was like have 6 or more buildings, get 4 points. Have those little red vial research symbols, have a certain amount of those, have a certain amount of population out on the board. And there's 3 stages to it. You could get the journey card and like use it earlier, but you get less points, but it's like 2, 3, or 4. It's not like a huge difference. The points you get from there are on that devotion board, which are nice because you get a lot of benefits on there. There is also like how there's the population corner pieces that give you the multiplier based on how much your various colored tracks were up. There's one of those on that devotion board. So you can get a free population to put on there, which is one of your technologies on your Civ board.
Okay.
If you've hit 8 devotion. And then there's a 2-to-1 victory point to devotion. So if you get like, I get 6 victory points, you can just 2-to-1 that and get 3 devotion instead.
Okay.
Or if you get 2 devotion, you can turn that into 1 victory point. I got a machine that lets me do 1-to-1 once per score. So like that 4 score I'd get for flipping those 4 machines when I hibernate, I could just turn that into 4 devotion, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
The journey cards, the lakes, the devotion track. There's some new modules, some new cards. The new tribes. I think we played with all new tribes. The only one we didn't see was the Cordyceps tribe, which I thought was interesting as like at least a theme for a civilization.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they do, but they seem neat.
They fucking eat faces.
Yeah.
They leech other players, taking advantage of their cards, their buildings, and even their technologies. So
like I said, they eat faces.
Yeah, face eating right there. But you liked it? The expansion?
Yeah, I mean, Revive is still really good. The expansion adds just a little bit more, but nothing.
But not too much?
No, and it's really just like that modular setup of just like, hey, here's all this shit out on the board now. Here's these lakes. And I just kind of got boned with a lake that there was like literally 1 space to build next to it, and Julie just fucking blocked it off. That bitch. But the score was, between second and third, was very close to the end. I think it was only 2 points between me and Julie. And it was like, I don't know, almost 100. He was 4 spaces behind me, about to lap both of us. So,
Jesus. But he didn't.
He didn't.
That's good.
He didn't.
That's always something.
That is.
You always feel a little bit of pride when you're like, I didn't get lapped. Good.
Yeah. It was a good expansion. I would like to pick it up. It feels like it doesn't add anything crazy to the game. It's just kind of that devotion. But I do have to say, those 4 civs that they add, you can only play with the expansion. You can't bring those into the base game at all because they have a lot of mechanics and scoring that has to do only with devotion.
Do you feel that the old races are at a disadvantage for not having that stuff for the expansion?
I don't know. I haven't played enough with the like normal or like the advanced version of any of those, so I don't really know. I think they get enough regular victory points where, I mean, like the civs that are new, they get like 1 free devotion to where those older civs might get multiple regular victory points, and with that 2-to-1 conversion would be pretty similar.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And of course, I think if you brought them into the main game, you could just count their devotion victory points as victory points.
Sure.
Without being too broken.
Okay.
Yeah. We played with now in the expansion rules, now the scoring, there's those little alien relics that you can get.
Yeah.
And you can use those as multipliers for the scorecards. Everyone in the base game, technically, got a unique scorecard, but if those matched any of those corner ones, you could double up on score, like quadrupling your score in a certain category. But because you are the only one that had that specific relic scorecard, other people are at that disadvantage. Now you just use the same relic scorecard for everyone. So everyone is on the same scoring playfield.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Revive's still good.
Cool.
Ant had made his own 3D printed insert, designed his own, which was vital for how many pieces are in that fucking game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it was good. It didn't take too long either.
Cool.
Yeah, they say 90 minutes, 2 hours, and I think we were well under that. But
right on. I think that wraps up what we've been playing. And we can move on into some banters. So I've been snowboarding twice now. I wanted to talk about snowboarding the last week, but some asshole played fucking 1,000 games at BGG Con and took up the whole episode.
Right here, man. You can't just... where are you snowboarding now? That
Bluebird
is
closed.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bluebird, our backcountry ski spot, which they wouldn't have been open this time of the year anyway. They typically didn't open until the very end of December or beginning of January. We have also, with the exception of our first year at Bluebird back in 2020 with the pandemic, that was the first year we just didn't get a major ski pass at all. We only had Bluebird. Other years, we've always gotten another pass. So we got, again this year, the Icon Pass, which is Copper, Winter Park, and Eldora are like the 3 local mountains that are on there. There's a bunch of other mountains on the Icon Pass, like all across the country, but like for here, local to Denver, it's really Copper, Winter Park, and Eldora. So we got Icon again this year. I went last Monday to Winter Park. One of my coworkers, he snowboards. I was telling him like, yep, we got Icon Pass. He's like, cool, I got an Icon Pass so that I can go riding with you because we have the same days off. He's on my team at work, so we have the same days off. So we went Monday last week. Thinking like, cool, it's a Monday, crowds will be kind of low, no big deal. It's still very early season, like not a lot's open. We've actually not gotten much snow this year. It was like a relatively late first snow even here in Denver. We just had our second snow here in Denver. But even the mountains haven't been getting a ton, which isn't uncommon for an El Nino year. It's an El Nino year.
Right.
So usually you get later snows, but sometimes heavier snows. So the season should be good in the long run, but it starts off a little weak, which is kind of the trend that we've had so far.
I will take your word for it.
Yeah. So anyway, went to Winter Park last week. It was a fucking nightmare. It was a fucking shit show. We did not account for, like, I knew it was the week of Thanksgiving, but I was like, anybody who's traveling for Thanksgiving to Colorado is going to be doing stuff with family. They're not going to be going to fucking Winter Park in early season. Like, nobody's planning a ski trip for Thanksgiving. Like,
What all those family ski trips?
I'm 90% positive that's why Keystone blacks out Thanksgiving is because they're so busy with people doing that.
Well, so Thanksgiving and stuff. So later in the week, sure. Like, but I didn't think that Monday would be as bad as it was. It was so bad that like 2 of their main lifts off the base, the lift lines almost met.
Oh, wow.
And we did a couple runs, and it was very short, very flat runs. It snowed, so we were like, oh, fresh snow. That was another reason we went. We were like, oh, cool. Like, we'll catch some cool early season fresh snow. The first run was fine, but also because it was so flat, having fresh snow really slowed us down.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, there was a lot more, like, scooching and, like, okay, this isn't what I really want to do. So we bailed on that one pretty early. And then there was a massive fucking snowstorm on I-70 coming back that made traffic a fucking mess. There was a big, massive pileup that I almost became another member of because it was like, I was following pretty far back, chilling, went to break, and truck was just like, how about nah, bro? It's like, uh-oh. Was able to like stop just before I would have had to made a decision about bump the car in front of me or bump the guardrail.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, and then we wound around the big fucking accident because there was a huge pile of multiple semis. It was a mess. So yeah, that was a shit show. The day sucked. All of it was garbage. So we were talking about it all at work, all week at work. Like, hey, like let's go again on Monday. We're both off. Like, Megan works. Like, yeah, let's go. It's like not Winter Park. We're not going to do Winter Park. And then Winter Park got fucking 9 inches of snow yesterday. We were like, oh, shit. Should we go to Winter Park? And we looked, and no, because even with 9 inches of snow, they didn't open hardly any new terrain. So we were like, they opened a little bit, but not enough. So instead, we went to Eldora. I've never been to Eldora. Eldora is like 30, 45 minutes from Boulder. It's like the local Boulder Hill. It's a much smaller mountain.
Oh, okay.
It's very much more of a front range kind of mountain. CJ went to CU Boulder, my coworker who I went snowboarding with. He's come to game night a few times. So that used to be the place like he used to go. That's where he like learned to snowboard and shit. So, him going back, he's like, holy shit, this is like, I haven't been here in years. This is like kind of nostalgic. Then we were joking about like, now that it's after the holidays, like Eldora's back to being like, the only 2 people there are college kids who are bailing on class to go snowboarding or just don't have class, for a couple hours in the morning, go snowboarding. Or they're like all the old folks who live in Nederland and are retired.
Oh.
And sure enough, like the mountain was either like a bunch of really old people or really young people.
Right.
But they had a surprising amount of terrain open. It was all still pretty basic runs. But it was decent enough conditions. There were some icy spots. I hit an icy spot when I was like fucking ripping really fast, being a idiot, and yeeted myself off into the trees, which was great. I like had to take off my snowboard and come crawling back up onto the trail. And like, as I did, there was like a ski patrol guy walking, like apparently somebody reported like, hey, somebody just like flew off into the trees. So he was coming to like make sure I wasn't hurt. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I was laughing my ass off the whole way because I was just being dumb and hit an ice patch. I mean, it was just whatever. So we did some runs today. It was nice. And then we were going to go into Boulder. We're going to go eat. I was like, oh shit, I'm up by Boulder. I'm never up by Boulder. I'll go to Avery. I'll go see Jeff.
No, you're not.
Nope.
Not on Monday.
Avery's closed on Mondays. And I'd messaged Jeff and I was like, hey Jeff, like Google just told me Avery is closed. Is Avery closed? And Jeff was like, on Mondays? Yes. In my brain, I didn't ask Jeff, is Avery closed? I asked Jeff, is Avery open? So when I saw on Mondays, yes, I was like, cool, on my way, be there in 45 minutes. Luckily, I saw his message where he direct messaged me and was like, bro, no, we are
do not
closed.
Come here. We are closed.
And then it was a game of like, okay, well, shit, well, where do we go instead? Okay, how about this place? Closed on Mondays. How about this place? Closed on Mondays. Fuck. So
and then I recommended the best place in Boulder.
And we didn't end up going there.
Well, it's the best place in Boulder.
Yeah, CJ was like, yeah, that's where we always went when we were in college, like all the time.
It's the best.
We ended up going to,
especially probably today because all the college kids are probably not there.
Yeah. I forget already the name, like I don't know, some old place in Boulder's been there since like the 1920s. Fucking Obama ate there when he went, when he was campaigning, and
no idea.
It's over on the hill near all the frats in the main downtown. Or not main downtown, but I don't know. It was good. It was really good. It was kind of a dive place. Got a really good burger though. Enjoyed it. I drank an Avery IPA, in honor of not being able to go to Avery.
Of course.
You paid for Avery?
I paid for
Yeah,
Avery.
okay.
I know.
All right,
I do it
wow.
occasionally. They make good beer. I got to give them credit.
We try.
Marketing
Marketing doesn't care, but we do.
So it's been good. I've already got 2 days on the mountain. Legs are feeling, better. Not great, but better. Ready to go. We got a really big ski trip planned in late January to Whistler in Canada. So super looking forward to that. I wanted to go to Whistler for a long time.
Nice.
It's a massive mountain, and it's in Canada. So I get to get back to my traveling internationally, at least, a 3 or 4 day ski trip to fucking Vancouver area.
I mean, it is a different country, so
it is indeed.
it counts.
It ticks the box.
Legally.
I don't know if Whistler is front facing. I'm not sure what that means. So for
no court could convict you on that. So.
So snowboarding, good times. It's good to be on a board and doing snowboarding related things. Oh,
Front range.
Front range is a term for Colorado here. Basically, the mountains. It's a dumb term. It doesn't really mean
It's
anything.
like one of the first mountains.
Yeah, it's like
in like
So like there's mountains here, and those first mountains,
Or like
that's the front range.
front range ones.
Yeah.
As you go deeper, those are
Those are
mid-range.
just mountains.
Those are mid-range mountains, and then there's the back range ones.
yeah. Well, then you get into like the Gore Range,
And then you
the Never Summer Range. Like they actually have names.
I mean, of course they do.
And really, it's one of the weird things about the Rockies. Like a lot of other mountain ranges, it's just the range of them. Like, the Appalachian Mountain Range is just the Appalachians. They're all kind of formed at the same time. Colorado has a bunch of different mountain ranges that were all kind of formed not necessarily all at the same time and from slightly different things, and it affects our geology and topography a little bit weird. So the Front Range is an actual mountain range, and yes, it is just the mountains that are in front when you first get to Colorado coming from the east, because that's, how the white people came across America. So we were like, oh, well, clearly this is the front of the Rockies because it's the side we're approaching.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Anything else?
Still been playing a decent amount of 7 Days to Die with Aunt Julie and Megan.
But it's no longer October.
Yeah, it bled further than October. And it's probably going to bleed into December. And
Was this a specific October activity?
that's how Ant pitched it. He's like, it's
Oh.
October. It's time for spooky zombie killings.
Are you still playing the same game?
We are.
Okay.
We are about to stop playing the same game because we were playing a mod that's like a total overhaul mod. It has more of a quest storyline thing. And we reached a point where it was heavily glitched. Ant had to turn on no clipping to go down into a building to talk to a quest giver. And there's just been a few issues, and we're to the point where now that the quest line is kind of broken weird. Megan also a building she needed to do a quest at wouldn't reset. We did looted it and it wouldn't reset, so she couldn't do the quest. So there's a bunch of shit that kind of has broken here in the end game, and it's okay, well, if we can't do the storyline, then what are we even doing here? So we're talking about maybe starting fresh on a different map that we've never played before. Because we're playing on a pre-gen map that we've all played a bunch, so we know where kind of things are. We might play on a new, still pre-gen, but one that we have not played before, so things will be new and different.
Okay.
There was also a big update from both 7 Days to Die and the mod that both groups were like, yeah, you should probably start a new save if you're going to upgrade, because, stability is not guaranteed. And so it's okay, cool. Well, we can upgrade all of our shit and fucking, start a new game. It'll be cool. But that'll be after my trip to California, which I'll give you guys a chance to talk for a little bit, but I'm also still, before we're all done, going to talk about my trip to California that's coming up because I'm very excited. What do you guys have for banter?
So my friends that I had played Between Two Castles with, they had messaged me, let's say a month or so ago, of basically, hey, I think we're going to get married at some point. We'll let you know when it is. And I was like, okay. And then on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, they were like, hey, we're going to get married tomorrow morning. You're invited. And I was like, Okay. Well, that's like it was Tuesday evening when they told me, but luckily we got Wednesday off before Thanksgiving. Like they had just decided because they were letting, let's say, too many people go at work. They were like, we're going to give everybody an extra day off, amongst other things. But that's what it felt like. So we had Wednesday off. So I was like, oh, cool. So then I popped over and watched them sign their certificate and hung out with them for a bit. So it was fun, but it was very funny to be very just very quick on that. And I had talked to my dad the night before, and he was gonna have lunch with my friend's parents and their grandparents like the next day, that day when they got married. And so I was talking to my dad, and I was like, all right, well, hopefully you have a good thing. I didn't tell him anything about them getting married the next day. And so then when I was driving back after they had their lunch, he called me back and he's like, well, you're good at keeping a secret, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. So, yeah.
So these are like friends from like the before time?
I've known my friends since I was 4 or 5.
Oh, okay, cool.
So about 31 years.
Do they live out here or do they just
He moved out here 2 or so years
Okay.
before he's the reason why I was looking at Denver as a place to move when I got
Gotcha.
done with college. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Is it Mr. J?
His name is Jason, and his last name also starts with a J. So yes, either way.
Ooh, Mr. JJ.
Yeah.
It's my name.
Also, it was Jeff. I don't know if you know what I was talking about. Yeah. Jeff got married again.
I do believe I have met Jason several
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
He doesn't come aroround often enough
No.
to really earn a
No.
permanent place in my memory.
That's
No.
fine. We all have people like that. So.
Yeah. Friends of friends. Jesus.
Adrian, right?
Adrian, right? Yeah.
Again, people ask me why I'm stopping the podcast. It's impossible to say.
Yep.
No.
So I also started playing WoW again. They had a new
Oh, I'm sorry.
They had a new expansion. Oh, well, you'll definitely say that when I decided to buy a year subscription of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
so the mounts they were offering were too tempting. And it was
and
a
then
detail.
so you get like the year mounts,
Yeah.
and then you also get the 6-month mounts,
Yep.
which change every
wow.
6
Yeah, I
months.
mean,
So
And you're
during that year, you'll basically get like 3 chunks of like stuff.
Yeah. And it's technically cheaper than buying it month to month. So
It's $12.99
instead of $15. So it's like you're saving.
You know what? That subscription has never raised in price the entirety of the time World
Yeah.
of Warcraft has existed.
Yep.
In 2019,
19 years. They had their 19th anniversary right now. So
Which
is it 19?
Yes.
Jesus. 19 years ago, that was $15 a month.
2004.
which is kind of shock because it feels like that was a lot more money back then than it is now.
Well, you're also college students. We're like $15. That's like
a month?
that's
every month?
15 Tostino pizzas.
And I think that
That's half of my monthly dinners.
it's a lot of party pizzas.
Yeah.
And I think that it hit peak and then went into a hard depression of where its peak was. And they were like, well, we can't raise the price now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it came back for a bit, and then like it's
like
at a peak.
every other expansion is good.
But like they still have millions of people playing.
Yes.
So
Especially because they brought back classic WoW, and now they've brought in hardcore mode,
Oh,
which
no.
is if you die, your character deletes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
does it work like the mod in that you could also sign up in like groups of 2 or 3? Because on those, it was you could only play when everybody else was there, and then if one person died, everybody got their characters had to be deleted from there. So
Wow.
This is also true over.
Servers are way cheaper now than
Yeah.
they used to be.
Way, no, not way cheaper. Way cheaper.
yes.
2 long ways.
Yes, that sounds right.
Which is true. Fucking storage and servers and all of that shit is way cheaper.
But I started playing, and they just released a new patch, which was like the
last patch.
third big patch of the expansion.
They called them seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that so I started playing all the stuff on the newest, it was the Emerald Dream is like the new zone that they opened up. So
People thought that was going to be a whole expansion for decades.
they did, yes.
Oh.
Now it's just like, nah, it's just the patch.
Just the patch.
Just a patch and a last raid.
Yep. But the problem is that I didn't play either of the first two expansion areas. And so I went to them and they're fucking dead because why would anyone go there?
Sure.
Especially because all the gear you get now is way better than anything getting those. And so it's like, what's the point of doing all those things? And it's like these world quests that require multiple people. And it's like, nobody's here to do it. So I can't experience that.
Aw.
Yeah, you just kind of do the story
Yeah.
quests, and then you're like, all right, I'm fuck out of here.
Yeah. The stories, I mean, as I wouldn't necessarily say the story itself is better, but the storytelling is a lot better now, which is good.
That's good.
And it's a good one to veg out on. So I'd been looking for that after playing a bunch of like story focused games. I was like, it's good to just have music on the side, and then I'm just playing this.
Oh, yeah, I
So-
need you to
Clicking.
bring me Spider-Man at some point.
Yeah.
Endlessly clicking.
Oh, you hear that, don't you?
No,
Oh, okay.
I just walked by one day and I was
Yeah.
like, yep, he's playing WoW.
Fury Warrior. So I'm just mashing that keyboard.
What about you, Jeff? Any interesting things going on lately? Any fun stuff?
Were you saying something?
I was going
Oh.
to say we saw Napoleon and it wasn't good. It was fine.
It was
Mediocre
mediocre.
at best.
Yeah.
at
I did
best.
see Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth Thanksgiving themed slasher movie.
Yes.
Is that the second movie that was based off of the fake commercials or fake trailers?
I have no
Grindhouse?
idea.
Because the other one was Machete.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Do
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know.
Yes.
I remember
Okay.
the Machete fake commercial. I do not remember the other one.
I
Okay,
don't remember.
Thanksgiving was one.
Okay.
I don't remember. that.
Maybe.
Okay. This was by Eli Roth?
Yes.
Barely
Then it-
remember
then it's
Grindhouse.
definitely- Yeah.
Yeah. I do not. I remember Death Proof.
Yeah, that was not. I didn't like.
And a
the
machine
Yeah.
gun leg.
Yep. Oh, that was
Um,
Planet Terror.
Yes, that was the other movie. And
Robert Rodriguez.
Yes. Because it had fucking the dude in it, Machete Guy.
Yeah. Danny Trejo's
Danny
character.
Trejo,
Yeah, I don't.
yes.
Yeah.
What was I saying about words?
I don't know.
Oh, I saw Thanksgiving.
That's right.
That's yes. It was quite good. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
It was the perfect level of like gory like kills, but not like gross torture porn that Eli Roth got into for a long time.
Yeah,
that I
for
don't
a long time.
that I don't really like.
Kind of ruined
this
Eli Roth for
This
me
was
a little bit.
significantly more fun murdering that I did enjoy.
Okay. Okay. Got to have that enjoyable
With
murder.
a lot of good like Thanksgiving pun kills.
Good. I'd
Okay.
hope so.
Yes, it was quite good.
Somebody get deep fried.
No. Someone got cooked for sure. But yeah, it was quite good.
Okay.
There was a part at the end where there's this giant inflatable turkey that the killer just walks out from behind, and I just could not stop laughing. And I was
Nice.
just like, God, because it was after this like parade, and I was just like, God damn it. Just walking out from behind a turkey with an axe, dressed up as the first governor of Plymouth. That's the hook. He's dressed up
Okay.
as like whatever the governor.
Pilgrimy looking thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
I was like, perfect. I beat a game for the second time, which I never do because I play.
I was about to ask a clarifying question of like, was this only the second game you've ever beaten, or you beat a specific game a second
It
time?
was a specific game that I beat a second time.
Okay.
Because it's rare that I ever replay a game. I try and like complete it, and then I will never go back to it.
Sure.
But it was Control because
I saw you've been playing that a lot lately.
because I played it when it came out, and then all the DLC came out, and I didn't have my save, so I couldn't go do all the DLC. And then I want to play Alan Wake 2, and Alan Wake 2 has something to do with the DLC from Control,
Yes.
because there is an Alan Wake themed
Expansion for that.
expansion
Yes.
for Control.
Yes.
And then I went and tried to play Alan Wake Remastered,
Yeah.
which is only available on the Epic Game Store. They had that coupon going on, so it was like $15 off. Apparently, AMD processors have some issue with that game for whoever did the remaster, and like 3 years later, they've never patched it, and it ran like shit, and like lighting and like it would be this weird pixel wall when I was turning, and it would just like flash through the screen, and then like everything would just turn white, and I was just like, well, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, if you have an AMD processor, you can't play this game. And I was like,
sucks.
well, return. Yeah. And then I just went to the, it's under your heatsink. You probably can't see it from here.
I know.
And then I have Alan Wake on Steam, and it's just like the 360 version.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look much worse than that remastered version did. Apparently that remastered version also did some stuff like they reduced like fog levels and stuff, kind of like like Silent Hill, the PS1 version. There was some remake HD remaster of that, but they took all the fog out, and people are like, that was the point. You needed to keep the fog in there because you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you and a dog would jump out or whatever. And then if you take all the fog away, it's like, oh, it's down the street. Boom. Cool. It's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might play through Alan Wake before I get into Alan Wake 2 because I've heard Alan Wake 2 is very, very good.
That's what I've heard too.
It's disappointing it's on Epic, so I won't play it for like a year.
It will only ever be on Epic because it is published by Epic.
No.
Yes, it will never touch anything else because they are the publisher of that game. They funded it and developed it, paid for it, not going anywhere else.
You could do. I've seen it on PS5, like console.
It is on console.
So you can play on console.
Yes, but on computer, it will be on the Epic Game Store only, which is why I purchased it with that $15 off coupon because I was like, well, I'm not going to get it any other way.
I didn't realize that.
Yes. Because Control was like that, but Epic has been funding Remedy's like publishing since then. So, which is why the remaster is only on the Epic Game Store.
Fuck.
Bad news. Everyone does not love Tim Sweeney, especially Apple. So yeah, I beat Control again, played through all the DLC. I probably won't get all the achievements because it's like collect all the collectibles, and I was like, there's hundreds.
Yeah,
I would have to go to a list to go to a guide and cross off which ones of the random ones I have or have not picked up. I got all the story out of there though, which is nice.
Yeah, no, Control's fucking super good. I remember it came out on Game Pass and I played it and I liked it so much that I bought the full like Ultimate Edition so I could play the DLCs and stuff. Because it is.
And you can get to the DLC like earlier than like the end of the game.
Yeah. I played it. I liked it. But I also somehow finished it in 8 hours. So
if you mainline, did you do all the side quests?
No. I know there are a lot I could have done that I didn't, but I even still mainlining it, I was like, oh, that went by real quick.
Yeah, I think you have to do like the side stuff to get like the good chunk out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was combat in that is so fucking satisfying, especially when you get like really fucking tiered up.
Yeah. And then the DLC stuff gets a lot harder.
Yeah. I was cruising and then I went into a DLC zone and was like, oh, I'm dead. I died real fast. I got to get good.
I have been playing the Super Mario RPG remake. And it's hard to call it a remake because it's graphically completely different and new and awesome.
Okay.
But it is like 1-to-1 the exact same gameplay and everything else that the original Super Nintendo version was, that I was almost like, where's the button where you can go between the new graphics and the old graphics? Because it was that close.
Sure.
It's Thursby's favorite game.
Okay.
Apparently.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
He said he had beaten it like 3 or 4 times on the Super Nintendo, and he beat it in like one sitting over a weekend. It was like 12 hours, and he went through the whole game again. I got to the second boss and have not played it much yet, but that's definitely sitting in my must-play pile because it is very enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to play Cyberpunk since the 2.0 and the DLC. I've been meaning to go back to Cyberpunk.
It's much better now.
That's what I've heard.
It's at half off. I should probably buy it. Although
and I need to finish BG3, and I need to play Spider-Man 2. I got a fucking log of games, and all I've been doing is playing a shit ton of 7 Days to Die.
I also have to play Spider-Man 2, and a lot of other stuff.
Well, you should play Zach's before he.
And I also picked up God of War Ragnarok and Last of Us Part 1 because those were both half off.
Yeah,
nice.
And I was just like, well, I'll just buy both of those 2 for 1.
I don't know if I'm going to do Last of Us Part 2. The
remastered one? Oh, I mean, I saw 2 pictures and I was like, I can't tell.
I know. I mean, that's how I was with Last of Us. But then when I actually played them back to back, it was like,
yeah, I was going to say, you can,
So I think the hook there was they were going to be doing that multiplayer game
Yeah.
And that was probably somehow tied with this like re-release. And it sounds like that multiplayer game got kicked way down the road again and may just never happen.
It does add a whole new mode of play that's like
It's a roguelike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that sounds kind of cool. And there's supposedly a bit more like story stuff that wasn't in the base game.
And it's like and it's different. You can play as different characters that weren't in part 2.
Yeah, and then different skins and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I do love The Last of Us. It's a fucking great series. I've been playing the Dead Space remake, and holy shit, that's fucking good too.
Yeah,
like, God damn,
a lot of good remakes.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been doing anything else.
Okay.
Punching a lot of board games. Void
punching them.
Yeah, I mean,
before he ships them out, you get somebody to pay. They send the money, and then he just punches the shit out of it.
While I was watching Sumo, I was punching VoidFall, and the hard part about that is like as soon as you like get the plastic off the collection of cardboard things, like they were just dropping out
of it.
Really
and
it was just like I was like, holy shit! And then I had to attach 40 plus 8, 40.
So 48?
40, no. 40 plus 12.
Okay.
Yeah, 52 dials.
Okay.
With the little plastic little center.
Yeah.
And then each
crazy.
had to be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 specific slots.
Jesus.
And then I found out, because there was 2 different colors of the center plastic, the first 8 dials used the light gray, and then the bottom 2 used the dark gray.
Did you find that out afterwards?
I found that out on the 4th one of 4.
Okay.
So I had to go back to the other 3, take the bottom 2 dials out, and put the correct gray color of punch centerpiece in.
Was there a reason? Like, are they slightly different size?
So the top 8, no, not at all. The top 8 are just
aesthetic.
Like, yes, and the bottom 2 are dark gray. I assume there's some, and on the cardboard piece they are colored that as well. So now they match.
There you go.
Good.
Also, all the ships in that game are like dual layer cardboard pieces because you put like tokens and stuff on them.
Oh,
nice.
They spared no expense on that fucking game.
Cool.
Yeah. It's also $72 for the minis, and I was like, I don't think I'll do the minis for that.
We did just finish another round of Sumo.
Yeah,
watching that. That was good. We did. This is our second time doing the fantasy. Jeff eked out third. Tied
for third,
and I got 4th. I went back at the last one, the last fantasy. I got 4th on that one as well. I was very annoyed to see that.
And I think I was significantly less because I think I literally just chose randomly because I didn't care. I spent more effort choosing this time.
Yeah,
and now I'm gonna rail because not that the fantasy counts for literally anything. This free bullshit.
Oh yeah.
They close off the fantasy selection after day 3. So if you wait until day 3, you can see who's winning and just choose them. And then those are and anyone that's 3-0, you're just like, most likely they're going to do pretty well for the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
And so the guy that entered on that last day was in first place all 15 days.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah. I think like hiding that for the first 3 days would be good.
Yeah.
And then also being able to like get an extra point or 2 or something for like choosing who you think is going to win. I think that would be worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then Ofer was like, for people who got like winning records should get extra. And I was like, that's a little bit too far because that's like you're already getting you're already getting points by them winning. So
yeah.
But
cool.
It adds another bit of spice into the sumo world.
It does.
Sumo.
And it's nice to be able to be like, because normally everyone is cheering on the same people, normally like 80-90% of them. But now if we have opposing fantasy choices, it's like
in the same match.
Then you're like, yeah, fuck this other guy.
Okay.
Although we all still hate Abby. Fuck Abby.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
All my homies hate Abby.
Yes.
Almost picked him out of just the memes.
Yeah.
And I would have not done well.
No, you would not have, thankfully, because but it would have been funny if everyone was just like, and he's just like, go Abby. Woo! Like, Jeff, what the fuck? But it's a nice over, like we watch Overstream, and he has like anywhere from like 10 to 20 people like steering it, so it's nice to have a little peanut gallery talking about shit.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
glad y'all find your fun little niche.
That's all I got.
Okay. I'm going to see Ophir on Saturday. I was talking about it in the pre-show, but it won't make the episode. But I'm going to see Ophir on Saturday. Megan and I are flying to San Francisco. We're going to stay at Ophir's Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we're going to head up to Napa. We're going to meet up with Paul. We're going to go to Russian River. So I'm excited about that.
I'm less excited now that they distribute heavily.
Yeah, it's not as cool, but we're still going to go. It's going to be cool.
It will be cool.
And then we're staying in Napa Sunday night. And on Monday, we are going to the French Laundry.
There's laundry places here. I don't know if you need to go all the way out there.
What makes French laundry different than like American laundry?
So
croissants usually and smoking. I think people smoke while
doing the laundry. You actually throw a bag of cigarettes in with the laundry.
Yes.
So for those of you who actually do not know what the French Laundry is, it is a Michelin 3-star restaurant.
3-star. Jesus.
3-star. At one point, Anthony Bourdain, before he died, said it was the best restaurant in the world. And that guy has eaten at a lot of restaurants all across the world. It is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime meal. I'm very excited about it. It's supposed to be for my mom's birthday. We're going on my mom's birthday, but then she wasn't able to get time off work. So I was like, hey, Megan, I got this non-refundable reservation that I was going to give to my mom. I guess you get it now. Congrats. And so we're gone.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll have more on that on our next episode in like 3 weeks. Because I'll have gotten back. That's why we're not recording next Monday. I'm off, but I'm going to be eating hopefully the best meal of my life and certainly the most expensive meal of my life.
That is very true. Are you going to? So I know it's already like $300 or $400. You know, however much it actually is. But even like I've looking at their menu because like Ofer showed me the one he had is that they still have like $90 supplements, $150 supplements. How crazy are you? If you see one you like, are you gonna get it? Or
yeah.
Okay.
So like the sample menu I had looked at, they had a thing where they upgraded. It sucked. Like they chose a good menu to demonstrate the concept of like the supplements.
Yeah.
Because one of them was like, oh, you could have this like lobster mac and cheese or this lobster something. I don't think it was mac and cheese. Or you could have this like truffle mac and cheese, like
for $85.
For like, yeah. And then the other one was like, oh, you could have this like ribeye main course. Or for $150, you could have this A5 Wagyu like main course. I was like, oh man.
The white truffle and caviar dinner is $1,500 per person.
Yeah. That's not the one we're getting.
Yeah, your entry tier is $390 per person.
There you go.
Yes, we are going in at $390 per person, with the expected possibility of like a lot of the menus I've seen. You usually have up to $300 worth of add-ons.
Right.
So you can turn a $400 into a $700 plus liquor.
Yeah.
Or wine. In our case, we're gonna drink wine. Like, it's gonna be spicy.
I would still want to do that at some point, I think. But looking at the sample menu I saw for Ofer, I was like, well, I actually don't want any of those supplements anyway, so I think I'm okay there. Because like truffle mac and cheese, I'm like, I'm sure it's good, but whatever.
Yeah, it'll depend on like what actually the supplements are, whether I'll go for them. But like Megan, I'm sure will not. Megan will go full base course, so we'll be able to compare.
There you go.
Like, oh hey, Adrian, was your meal actually $150 better than Megan's?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, probably not. But yeah, it's I'm excited about the whole thing. It'll be cool getting to see Ofer and Teresa for a couple day. We'll have like 24 hours with them. Like
if you watch Sumo, you see him for 15 days straight.
That's true.
Unless he's at BGG.
He does take it personally, by the way, whenever you're not there. Just so
he said he did say the other day you have literally never watched Sumo.
That's not true. I have never watched a full Sumo. I've tuned in for like 10, 15 minutes and then been like, all right, I'm going to go do something else.
Never. Not once.
Sumo just doesn't super interest me. I'm surprised at how like into it everybody's gotten.
It's a weird sport.
Yeah.
It is a weird sport. I don't know. Maybe next season I'll make time. I'll have more time. I won't be doing this.
That's true.
I mean, Formula One's over, so I got nothing for
there you go.
96 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's whole 3 months.
Yep. And then the preseason testing begins.
Yeah.
The last race of the year was a snoozer.
Was that the Las Vegas one?
No, that was it was Abu Dhabi.
Okay. How did Las Vegas one go?
Very well. That actually,
because it was like a little bit of a shit show.
it was
like, in the lead up.
absolutely because someone pulled up a drain cover or like a water.
Oh
like,
yeah, I saw
a
that.
water.
Yeah.
It was a water pipe cover or something like that. That it is like it has metal pieces that keep the valve cover on there, and it's not big. It's probably like baseball sized, softball sized, but the suction from the car ripped the whole unit out of the fucking ground and destroyed the car, the whole bottom of the car. And he needed a new battery or something like that. And he was over his allotment for the year. And he was like, and that's like a 10-place grid penalty. And he was like, hey, the track, like, of no means of my own destroyed my car. Can I get like
Something
for this? And they're like, nope, you're fucked. Enjoy your fucking grid drop, nerd.
Jesus.
Sorry, we made a shitty track that destroyed your car, but no, you're fucked. And so in this final race, Ferrari lost to Mercedes by 3 points for second place in the Constructors' Championship, which is tens of millions of dollars difference.
Jesus, fuck.
Yeah.
That's kind of bullshit.
But the actual race for Vegas was actually quite good.
Cool.
Yeah. Probably one of the best of the year.
Nice.
did it look like they successfully stopped people from watching it without paying a bunch of money?
Absolutely not. I saw the best hack, which was there was this like escalator that went up to some bridge or something like that. People were just doing laps up and down the escalator because it was just right over the track. And
Nice.
no one could stop them. They were just doing loops.
Yeah. I forgot some.
And they could, get like an aerial view over the. Yep. It was just people going to the bottom, going right back up.
That's amazing.
And then there was like one video of just like security just screaming at people, keep walking, no one stopped, no stopping. And like someone was stopped, some security guard got right in his face. It was like, keep fucking moving, no stopping. It was just a public bridge, but they hired security to keep people moving so they couldn't stop and look. But the plastic plexiglass that they put the frosted thing over that people immediately tore it off, they put like fencing between the plexiglass and
where people were,
where people were, so people couldn't reach through to tear the frosted bullshit off the plexiglass. And then as soon as the race ended, people were just tearing everything down because they didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Wild.
But the race was actually quite entertaining.
That's good.
I actually stayed up and watched it because it was so good.
Nice.
Till like 1:40 in the fucking morning.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Right on. I think that kind of wraps it up for banter.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We're just gonna bang these out.
Okay, I was going to say, do we even want to do these? Like, we're an hour and a half. It's the last one of these, and none of them are wild, but
you know what they have wildly done? A lot of money.
a lot of money.
A lot of money. We're starting with the one that made the least amount of money.
Correct.
Least to most.
Correct. Least to most.
First up is Stacked. This one is quite well funded. $172,000 of its $5,500 goal. I don't think they were expecting to.
Yeah.
That
one feels like an accurate one of like,
yeah,
Oh, dear.
this got popular. Over 3,100 backers, and you can pledge it. It's like fancy edition for $46.
people love topography. What can they say?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a kind of abstract stacking game where basically you all have a set of tiles that are like tokens that you start with, and they're vaguely,
They call them nodes.
Yeah, they're vaguely they're 1, 2, 3, and 4 sized. They're based off like a little disc, like if you imagine like a little board
duo,
game disc.
trio, and quad.
Yeah. So the quads are the
And
bases.
base. Don't forget base.
But it's like setup.
Yeah. So basically, scrolling down here a little bit for the people watching the stream. So basically, the start of the game, everybody, it says you take specific pieces according to the player guide. So I'm assuming like first player gets a slightly different than second, third, fourth, because the way the game plays, it wouldn't be necessarily, there'd be probably a substantial bias.
I'm assuming it's like first player, get the good pieces. Fourth player, get the shitty pieces.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so you have an amount, everybody has a base and then an amount of uni, duo, trio, and quad. I don't like the uni. Yeah. Anyway, so you start by everybody placing their foundations. Foundations have to have at least 2 chunks of the 5 chunks touching to make the base. And then after that, you just take turns stacking 1 piece per turn, and it has to connect to another piece on its level by at least 1 node. They can't overhang anywhere, so kind of normal rules for these kinds of stacking shape games. Each piece can only have 1 of each type of piece on it. So if you place the 4 piece, it can have only one 3 piece touching it, not any other 3 pieces. It can only have one 2 piece, only one 1 piece.
On top of it.
On top of it.
Yes. It can have multiple 3 pieces touching it on the same layer.
Sides. Yeah, for the per piece below.
Yes.
You can't duplicate stack, so you can't exactly stack a piece over its same piece below. Again, pretty normal rule for these kinds of games.
No, not normal, Adrian. Not normal at all.
What? Oh, yeah, no.
Zach's just turning koozies inside out.
Great.
Yeah.
You can't start a new layer until there have been at least 3 pieces played on the current layer. And then once there have, you can start a new layer. Once a new layer has been started, you can never play on lower layers. And there's some rules about like you can, you got like that one, like unless 3 pieces have been played on the current layer, unless you have no legal moves, in which case you can start a new layer.
You can never stack the exact piece on top of the exact piece.
That's what I was saying was pretty normal rule for these types of games.
Yes.
When the fucking
we all got that,
happened.
But also, like if the 2 piece is already on that piece, you can't put another 2 piece on that piece.
Yes. And so the whole goal is to kind of strategically block to prevent other people from being able to make plays. And the last player to play a legal piece wins a round. You play 3 rounds. Whoever wins the most wins the game. The first player to win 3 rounds wins the game. So you play, however many rounds it takes. This seems like a game where that part would get ignored, and you just play it, however many times you want to play, and like each one's just standalone. The elite version that Jeff was talking about, the fancier version, it adds the blue bomber pieces, where once you put them on top of a piece, it prevents anybody else playing anything on top of that. So if you put it on like a 3 or a 4, it blocks a lot of space to make it even tighter for building up.
Yep.
You can combine the sets, so you can get like the regular and the elite and play up to like, I think it was like a 17-person game, it said.
I think generally it's like an 8-player game, but yes, you can.
Yeah, the regular stacked is 1 to 6. The elite with those blue bomber pieces is 1 to 8, and then if you combine the 2, you can do 1 to 14.
You said 16.
I said like 16.
It's disappointing.
It adds up.
I was just looking for a nice 16. Stacking game for 16 players.
This isn't it.
What about 15?
No, it's 14, man.
Damn it.
Sorry, you've got to pare your friends down to 14.
14 people do that, and then I'll play Sky Team with somebody else.
There you go. See? Perfect.
The pieces are actually quite big. Like each node is like the size of a quarter.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So like your 3-node piece is like a poker chip.
Yep.
So surprisingly chunky, which is nice. They're not like, penny or dime sized pieces that you're trying to fiddle around with.
Yeah, and in like Jeff kind of quipped at the start, like the gist is it's supposed to vaguely end up looking like a topography map, like the kind of curved, rounded edges and like the way it all comes together.
Yeah.
So, it looks kind of interesting. It's fairly inexpensive and it has done wildly well. This is the same company that apparently did a game called Squared, or Cubed, that like looks familiar. I forgot the third dimension, Zach. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But you can get in this Kickstarter, you can add on copies of the original Cubed. That's like another similar kind of spatial tile placement game that, like I said, looks vaguely familiar, but I don't actually remember it. So
yeah, I think they learned in naming this game STAKD from Cubed, which there is a zillion different games called Cubed already. So that's why they kind of did a
slightly different spelling.
Yes.
Sure.
It's like Traverses.
Yeah. Looks kind of interesting. I like those kinds of like weird little stacking games. Looks like it's a fairly small box. Expected delivery by July to August 2024, so not too terribly far off. So yeah, that's stacked with no first A. Or sorry, no C.
Yes.
Or an E.
And no E. Those are the ones that are missing. Stacked.
Yes.
Next up, moving away from Kickstarter over to GameFound.
And games that made a lot of money. This is Nemesis Retaliation. It has made $4.7 million of its $50,000 goal.
That one also seems accurate.
Yes.
I'm sure they only thought I was going to do 50K.
Not 9,000% funded.
Yeah.
Over 20,519 backers. Pledge this one, which you can for all the new shit at like $189.
Jesus Christ.
This is more Nemesis. This is the third Nemesis. This one having a heavy theme on like military and like sending in the Marines to kill all the aliens.
So it's the aliens of the...
Yes.
Okay.
It is the third of these games, but it is aliens.
Yeah, so Nemesis is very much Alien. I don't actually know. I've never played Isolation, the second one. So I don't know what its hook is. This one is very much, like you said, the aliens. You're the Marines going in to fuck shit up into a facility that you don't know the layout of. So you're like exploring the facility as you go. And they have all this stuff in the crowdfunding page here for it, where like it's like from the Marines' point of view, and they're like, oh, I've heard of these black sites before, and it always sucks going in. Like there's never any intel, and it's hard shielded to prevent scans to understand the layout. And, gives you an excuse for why everything just is randomly drawn.
I didn't realize there were some recordings of the Marines doing that, because it sounded exactly like what I would expect a Marine would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like quotes from them somewhere in here. Got a shit ton of stuff. The special edition that's just the $109 version has the minis. You can get all the way down to $65 if you're going for standees. But they come with just a ton of stuff. 20 plus room tiles, 40 plus corridor tiles, a shit ton of cards, shit ton of tokens, which isn't uncommon. Like even Nemesis is that way.
Yeah.
Which I've played and have enjoyed. The player boards look really cool in this one. They're these super cool little tracks. They've got like a tool belt, tactical belt, where you could put different items in. That's like ammo and health and shit. You have a health bar that goes from like healthy to injured to like heavily injured to like fucking dead. Lists out like your actions and stuff.
Nemesis things.
Yeah, left and right hand. Like I don't know. This looks a lot better than I remember any of the player boards being when I played Nemesis last. So I like it.
I don't remember what they looked like when I played the one time. But it does look good.
It has an oxygen dial. I don't remember that being a thing.
Yeah, it seems like you can turn on life support in certain rooms so you don't have to use O2. There's a bunch of robots and stuff that are modular, so you can turn them into like medical robots or technical robots or military or server or whatever. You can like weld doors, which you couldn't do in the previous game. See aliens.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like, because you're all supposed to be military, there's like chain of command where you can like be an officer ordering one of the other players that's lower ranked to do stuff.
Nice.
But they have the same like build your own story based on events and stuff. And it's like the commander's gone. He ran away with the objective. So clearly there's still like semi-cooperative in there at some point. Yeah,
there's definitely the semi-co-op rules and stuff that still play into it. Another interesting thing that they have here is like you go through and it has like all the classes, and like Jeff said, there's like rank and stuff. You get down a little ways, and then they have this rank civilian call sign contractors, and they're like just civilians that occasionally are along for like certain missions that you like might have to keep safe or do special things with, and like they don't even have the full like model for the mini up yet.
Yeah.
They've got the standee, which looks kind of cool, but they haven't come up with the digital model. And like, so that's just another thing that you might have to like actually keep a civilian alive or like get a civilian to a certain point to do a certain thing. And so there's a bunch of stuff like that.
There is also the like second set of aliens that you get in all of these, which looks to be like a, what the fuck is the game? System Shock theme.
Okay.
So it's sort of like an AI taking over stuff and turning people into like cyborg zombies and like body horror Matrix like stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really like Nemesis. Like I said, I never played the second one. I kind of missed that one. This one looks cool as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
And I'm sure they will let you buy all of it at some point if you decided to.
Sure.
If you want to just spend one meal's worth of money, Adrian, you can get a bunch of stuff.
One meal's worth of money.
One single meal. That's all you have to skip to be able to afford the Nemesis trilogy pledge of $345.
So yeah, all kinds of
yeah, and a lot of this, by the way, is 2025, I believe. Yes, 2025. Q2 2025.
Yeah, so just, tie up hundreds of dollars for
One of
over
the-
a year.
One of those interest-free loans.
Yep. Those are pretty nice. Wish I could get a couple of those.
I'm sure people in the crowdfunding universe really like those right now.
Yup. So yeah, that's Nemesis
Retaliation.
Thank you, Zach.
It's more.
More Nemesis. So yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this episode. Thanks everybody.
The anti-penultimate episode.
Antepenultimate episode. Start sending in emails. One of the last 2 episodes, I don't know which one it will be for sure. Probably the last episode will be the just fan
If it's not
feedback.
the next one, then it's another. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you got a 50-50 chance. I imagine it's going to be the last episode in January is going to be the fan feedback extravaganza, fucking look back retrospective, whatever. I'm still going to try and think of something fun to do for, I don't know, both episodes.
Next one being in 3 weeks.
But yeah, you got 3 weeks. So send emails. Boyd, come up with something, in true Boyd fashion. One of the fucking, I don't know, weird shits that you sent way back in the day. I don't think it was Boyd who sent the weirdest emails. I don't know, we've had some weird emails over the years.
I would think we probably still have all the emails.
We do. We
Yeah.
could do an email episode where we go through every
Go
email
through
we've
and read
ever
all
received.
of our old emails.
Let us know, favorite memories, moments, episodes.
I'm still
fucking
seeing comments
things.
on the Game of Thrones.
Dude, same.
I know.
People keep commenting on it. It'll be great. People are like, "Oh, this is a really good playthrough." And they're like, I noticed all these rules issues here, and here. So streaming of playing games, I mean, that's not going to be part of like the finale wrapping up the show, like anything specific, but like that is something that I have interest in still doing occasionally. Like if we're not really doing the podcast, then it opens up the door to like maybe doing more just random one-off streams, like not on any kind of schedule, no pressure, but just dropping in and being like, hey, yo, cool, we got a new game, maybe we can stream it.
20,000 people have at least started the Game of Thrones.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fucking
I can only assume
bitrate
there's-
on that was not good.
I can only assume there's not a lot of playthroughs of that game
Yeah, I
on
think-
YouTube.
And I think Game of Thrones is a weirdly popular one where like it probably gets a lot of like interest from people who are like not necessarily board gamers, but are Game of Thrones fans looking into like that game and trying to learn how to play. And it's all over the place. Jaws was a bunch of fun for 2/3 of the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we also played with Hidden Movement Extraordinaire Ant. So in a fairly simple hidden movement game.
It was
It was a massacre is what it was.
Yes, it was.
that fucking just like sharks in real life. They don't actually stand a chance when people are really trying to kill them.
Yeah.
No, if you want to do that, you do orcas v yachts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Orcas fuck up yachts.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, so that's the end of this episode. We got 2 more scheduled, one in December, one in January. And so we'll see you for those episodes.
Did you say what our emails was?
I did not. Send us emails at
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
There you go.
that's where we want them all to go. I'm done weeding through our old social medias that we don't ever check anymore. And Twitter is a
Guild
fucking
2731.
shit show. 2731? I don't know if that's correct.
You can see us on X.
Fucking yeah, we get routinely tagged in all kinds of fucking crypto scams
Yes.
and other stupid bot shit because
Ooh.
that's really all that's on X anymore.
We have our Discord channel that we will forever continue to
Link in
be.
the show notes. It will
Yeah.
continue in perpetuity for a while. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I don't think I have. It may have lapsed. I kept renewing it because Google kept being like, "You haven't used this in 6 months. We're going to close it." And I was like, "No, don't close it. No, don't close it." I don't remember if it's active now or not. I'll check, and I might be able to reactivate it, Boyd. So you can send us a fucking voicemail. We'll listen to your dulcet Texas tones, and it'll be great. Now we're going. Now we're leaving.
Yep.
Now we're done. Goodbye. Oh, as
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Okay.
as always, I have been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm the Federal Bureau of Control Agent, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.